Can the applicant hear me?
Hello, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm the owner for 309 18th Avenue, the applicant.
Okay, I see the first name, Gloria, and I don't know your last name.
Velez, PLC. I'm the daughter of Mr. Augusto Gonzalez.
Okay, Ms. Velez, if you're going to be the one that tests. Now, forgive me, I don't want to believe the obvious, but you're testifying here on your own, or you're translating for someone else?
I'm translating for my dad. He's here next to me.
All right, so just be clear for the record that you're basically taking a translator's oath, that you will translate accurately and not try to help your dad's testimony too much. If you have something to say on your own, then note that it's not just translation, it's actually you saying on your own. Because do you have any personal knowledge of the property?
No.
No. All right. So then, unless you tell us otherwise, we assume you'll be doing nothing but translating for your father and doing it accurately. Then, Gloria, you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Can I only translate, or somebody here also can I be? Yes, can I?
Well, you said, if I understood you correctly, you said before that you did not have any personal information about the property. You're just translating. Do you know anything your father wouldn't know?
No, we both know the same thing.
Oh, okay, but no, so you are familiar with the property, all right.
Yes, I live in this.
So we'll call this translator's oath and the witness's oath, because I guess we'll keep it informal. Just make sure you're clear what you're saying on your own and what you're saying in translation, all right?
Okay.
So I'll say the gift trader, yeah, and we'll call this witness, both to be a witness and a translator for the informality, but it's not the Supreme Court. Gloria, you swear affirm to tell the truth, and nothing but your truth, both in your translation and your testimony?
Yes, I do.
Let's proceed.
Okay, Gloria, this is the executive director. This is the time when your father can say what he'd like to say to the commissioners about the application. You're applying for the work that you've already done at the house to enclose this porch. So if you'd like to talk about, when he did this, why he did this, etc., then we'd like to know more about it, please.
Sure, definitely. Okay, ellos quieren saber exactamente por qué lo hicimos, cómo y cómo pasó todo, por qué no tuvimos el permiso. Todo lo que tú quieras, yo trabajo tras traducir. Ok. Ya después ponemos hablar de
Sí, buenas noches.
Good evening. Explica todo por qué estás aquí.
Bueno, yo estoy acá, ya vamos autorizando a mi hija Gloria Vélez para que me ayuden en el traslado del idioma.
Okay, I'm here tonight, to be to the translation for my daughter Gloria Vélez regarding this case.
Bueno, pues no sé qué preguntas desean ustedes hacer al respecto.
Do you want to ask me any questions regarding this?
Well, we will like to ask him questions after he says whatever he'd like to say. He can take any time to talk about this project, why he's doing this project, and why he did not seek, any approvals from the city for the project, and so forth. After he's done speaking, if he has nothing to say, then we'll move on to the next portion, which is questions. The commissioners will ask him questions, okay? Can you tell him that?
Sure. They wanted to saber exactamente por qué hiciste este proyecto, por qué no tienes permiso y qué es lo que ha pasado. Todo lo que después hablas de esa
Nosotros llamamos a la municipalidad y si era necesario pedir una autorización. Me dijeron que no.
It's all first, to get a permit and they say no.
Porque éramos una parte parcial cambiar únicamente la ruta y poner
Okay, they say no because there was just a partial renovation, because they say only that there was a one family.
Y bueno, en la municipalidad me dijeron que para estas cosas no es necesario porque no se iba a reformar la estructura, solamente la parte de las ventanas. Acá las ventanas se cortaron unas nuevas con un chirroco.
Okay, they say the city hall, they say that we need a permit because the one was only to replace the windows and just to put the sheetrock.
Bueno, en base de eso nosotros construimos, botamos todas las ventanas viejas y pusimos las nuevas, dos puertas, perdón, 4 ventanas y una puerta nueva, 2 puertas, uno la puerta principal y la window.
Okay. After we did that code, we did replace the windows, the 2 doors, we put 2 doors. And
4 windows.
okay,
4
we 12, right? We replaced 12 windows for 12 windows. What is
Las
it?
2 ventanas que estaban construidas de plástico y que se movían.
Okay, 12 store windows for 6 vinyl windows.
Bueno, eso es todo lo que hemos hecho en la parte, digamos, exterior. Que pensamos que no ha cambiado la estructura de afuera, no ha cambiado. La constructura es del mismo techo, no se ha modificado nada.
We didn't make any changes outside. We still have the well, besides the windows, right? You know, of course, you know, on the sides,
Las mismas columnas.
the same columns, right? And what did we put there? No puedo hablar nada que no lo digas.
Ya son las 4, se reemplazó únicamente la ventana de plástico y la puerta, digamos, de window.
Basically, from outside, we only replace the windows and we just put the 2 doors, windows and store door and the principal door, we will say.
Y claro, aparte de eso, yo sabía que era una zona histórica y no pensé que no había que pedir ningún otro.
He never know that there was an historic district zone. So, yeah. All right, that's
Hi, Gloria.
how are you? Yes.
This is Chair Tate. Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes. Can I speak or also? Before he used to translate whatever he said, but he's missing some spots.
Okay, yeah, continue. Please continue.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Okay, as my dad said, you know, we did call the city hall, and when we called, we never been advised that we get the permit, as long as we never make any alterations, they say, like taking the walls down from the living room to the porch. This porch was always closed. It's nothing like it, just have the columns and nothing. There were 12 store windows. But when they came and took the pictures, you know, nobody went and said, do you have a permit or something? They let us continue. But we did ask for the permit. When we fixed the sidewalk, we asked, and we've been told that we didn't need a permit. When we asked for the tree to be removed again, and they said the city will do it. We asked for the step of the handrails. Every time we have called, we've been here 5 years only. And we only knew that this was the best part of Paterson, east side. We never know this was a district zone that, you know, that have a conservation zone or anything. When we got this notice, we went to the city hall. Even when we went there to the zone department, they had a way. We had to wait maybe like 10 minutes to find out because they were confused. They say, oh no, this part is now an historic district. That's the other side, from Greenland down to 18th Street all the way down. So they even got confused at the day that then we saw Mr. Henderson, and he explained everything that, you know, that we were in the party, in the city, in the park of Paterson, that we need to conserve everything. Everything has to be approved, even the color of the house. You will have to submit for an approval. But we didn't know. But that was a mistake that was made also from the city hall, because they were not aware that when we called them, we were on the other side of Paterson. From Greenland all the way down instead to the left side, which is the other side, right? We basically just did replace the 12 windows door for 4 windows for the four windows, right? And then an inspector came, and when I opened the door, he said that I shouldn't have the door that I have, the front door, that I should have at least to take the violation down would be another front store door. So we went to Home Depot and we got another store door in front. The reason that we have did this because they was coming apart. You saw the picture from the Google map. You could see the pictures before. Everything was coming down. So we put everything, since we saw our neighbors were doing it, and everything was, to me, it looks better. I don't know, we didn't change nothing dramatically. We didn't put we don't have right now to put the siding, so we didn't request that, but I will be in maybe in the future. So it's still in the same form, but a stucco from the first floor and still, the siding upstairs, second floor, we didn't move anything. So it's not like they have. Well, in my side, we see that looks better, but I didn't know. It's not our fault that we were not informed correctly that we should have had a permit, but we did call. So I don't know. I see everybody, on the sides, that everybody's been fixing, but I didn't know. Maybe now I understand everybody will going through the same thing that we're going right now. Not for this meeting. But I don't know, what else can I say? It was nothing intentional. Then it was done. We did call, and but it's done already. So I don't know what can we just proceed to keep it, the same way, or what we have to do in order to be with the compliance with the city, right? The last thing we can do is just have progress with the city. That's all what I want to say.
Gloria, thank you for providing your testimony. Does that conclude everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, we would like to invite the commissioners to ask questions to the applicant based on their testimony. Please raise your hand, and the executive director will reply accordingly. Thank you. Director, do we see anybody raise their hand with questions?
No, sir, we don't. Doesn't look like we have questions for the applicant.
Okay, so I'd like to ask Tim, could you read the resolution statement of purpose for this particular applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but if I may, could I please ask the executive director to project to the report that was shared with the commissioners? Because that is a photograph of the current conditions.
Yes, I think we should do that.
Okay, we're talking about the report vis-a-vis the committee report, right?
Correct.
We'll look at that in the open discussion.
Yes, we can put that up during discussion. Yes, for now, if you would please read the statement of purpose for the resolution as prepared.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2015 is the conditional approval of a design review application for the property located at 307-309 18th Avenue, Block 8626, Lot 10.
Thank you, Secretary Henderson. Can I get a motion for the prepared resolution from the commission?
Yeah, commissioners, we need to move the resolution and place it on the floor, please.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, so that was moved by Commissioner Rafael and it was seconded by Commissioner Rich. Can we get a roll call?
I believe discussion, Mr. Chair.
No, I'm sorry, there's no need for a roll call now. We have a motion first and second. It's on the floor. It's time for discussion. Roll call is last. So, commissioners, this is the time for discussion on the application. I can help with putting on screen the design guidelines for porches. If you'd like me to do that, need some direction from you. We
Yes,
also have a
please.
committee report. If no one is going to comment, it looks like Commissioner Walter is ready for a comment to get started. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yes, I would like to see the picture of the current condition. The committee report doesn't have any pictures in it, of course, so I don't know what Tim is referring to when he said that there's a current condition photo somewhere.
Yes, I'll get it up on screen. This was the report that was placed to the design review. I'm sorry, the design review committee. I believe that's the one that Tim is referring to. Is that correct, Tim?
Correct.
Tim Henderson?
Correct, John Franco.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes, that's correct.
That's going to be in the meeting folder, so I'm going to it now. And I'll open it up for you so we can see that picture, okay?
It's the other one, John Franco, the one that just says November 2020.
Can you see this on screen, what I'm doing here?
Yeah. John Franco, unfortunately, there are two reports with the same name. Pretty much, it's actually the other report that you just saw.
Okay, so do you see my screen now? I think it's this one.
Yes, it's the report. That is that one. Yes.
Yeah, this is the one. Okay, I'll go down to this this photo.
John Franco,
Yes,
this is Commissioner Simpson.
yes, Commissioner.
Can you also provide us the guidelines or review the guidelines with us?
Of course. Okay, so here's the photo that I believe people were looking for. This is, just right before the project was finished, with the insertion of the vinyl windows, the front door in place of the storm door, etc. I believe Secretary Henderson also noted that the areas around the window enclosures is now vinyl siding. Probably, I would imagine, probably the same as the house. Is that correct, Tim? Can you please testify to that?
It's actually a stucco over the sheeting.
It's stucco. Okay, it's not the siding. It's stucco on the infill portions. Okay, I'd be happy to look at the guidelines, Commissioner Simpson. I'm going to bring that up now. Looking at fencing. Okay, this is the document that's on screen now for everyone who's watching. Is the Eastside Park Design Guidelines that provides guidance to the commissioners on different parts of work. Could be roofs, it could be siding, it could be streetscaping. In this case, under Section D, architectural details, we have guidance for porches. As you can see, porches are character-defining features of many of the buildings in the district, and we have two sections here about, or three sections about what HPC is guided to do or encourages, discouraging, and does not permit. So, for example, in the guidelines, it's published here that under HPC does not permit enclosing or altering porches visible from the public right of way in any manner that would obscure. I have to move my window, I can't really see all of it. In any manner that would obscure or detract from the original architectural detailing of the porch in the building. I believe this is the situation with our current application. The porch design, historically and architecturally, is clearly to be an open porch, not an enclosed porch, although similar buildings of this period and of this style were sometimes designed with enclosed porches, and we've seen some examples of these. However, this porch has not been enclosed in all of its years. So this is definitely a new change to this building, and definitely falls under the does not permit area of the guidelines. The other fact I'd like to note is we did not hear in testimony what the purpose of enclosing the porch was. We also saw in the photograph. I have to go back to that so I can refer to it. It's actually, I think, this one. We actually see the addition of a front door rather than a screen door that would enter into a porch space and consequently to the main opening of the building. So we, again, without hearing directly in the testimony provided, we could make an assumption that the purpose of enclosing the porch may have been to create additional rooms as opposed to consistent with the porch area. So again, I can't say one way or the other because we didn't hear this in testimony. However, this is what might be indicated by these changes. Any further questions about the design guidelines in this case, Commissioner?
No, thank you.
Executive Director, if there's no other questions, would it be appropriate to read our committee recommendations?
Do I see Commissioner Walter? You have your hand up. Did you like to make a comment, or that's just from before?
No, that's newly up. I just wanted to state about them testimony saying that they did not know this was an historic district. I know when it became an historic district, notices to every house in the district saying that it was becoming an historic district. So it seemed to me that unless they just moved into the house this year, and the real estate agent didn't do his job, they should have known it was an historic district. I also had stopped by the day they started doing this work, and as a citizen, not as a historic preservation commissioner, I told them that they needed a permit for this work, and they ignored what I had said. And then I think the inspector, when he first went by, he told them the same thing, and obviously they continued work even after that. So that's my testimony on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Rich. Are there any more questions or comments?
I don't see any hands raised here, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to your committee report, put it on screen.
Okay.
We're looking at, I'm sorry, let's...
It should be on page 2.
Page 2, yes, that's right. Maybe I'm scrolling up here. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, so regarding the 307-309 18th Avenue, Block 8626, Lot 10 in the Eastside Park Historic District, the committee recommendations for the porch enclosure. The committee recommends that the porch be entirely removed as it does not conform with the zoning requirements and the guidelines for the historic park, historic district. And in general, the committee recommends that the applicant consult with the Historic Preservation Office for additional material regarding moving forward with this item.
Point of order, Chairman. I don't believe I see the committee report on the screen that you're reading.
Yeah, I don't think this is the one. Bear with me. You had mentioned it was page 2. That's the page I'm on, but...
Yeah, if you go... Yeah, it's page 3 on the actual document, but it should say page 2 at the bottom.
I see it here. I'm sorry. Yes, this is it here. Commissioner Simpson, this is it here.
Thank you.
So, may I clarify? You had mentioned that the entire porch be removed. I don't believe you mean the entire porch. You mean the new work that is being applied for now. Is that correct?
Right. The permitted work that was added, infill on the existing porch.
Okay, the porch enclosure then. So this is the committee report that you just read, now here and ready for people to see. Removed as does not conform to the zoning requirements and the guidelines for the East Side Park District.
Do we have any questions or comments from the commission?
I see none.
So would it be appropriate to close?
So I could mention here that this would be time for a roll call vote. If there's no further discussion, it would be time for a roll call vote. Now, keep in mind that the motion on the floor, the resolution on the floor, is for the conditional approval of the application. The committee report has recommended denial. So if commissioners in the roll call vote, if they do not want to, if they want to conform with the report that's on screen, they would have to vote no on the resolution. If they wanted to allow the conditions to stay, then they would vote yes for the conditional approval, which is what the resolution states. Just wanted to make that clear.
Confirmed. So with that being said, can we move into a roll call for the application?
Excuse me, this is Gloria again. There's a way that I could speak before just...
Gloria, excuse me. This is not the time for you to speak. Your time to speak is done.
All right,
So
sorry.
I have a motion on the floor, and it's the commissioner's time. Mr. Henderson, can you please read the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Director. Commissioner Corpo.
Okay, so tasked with the responsibility of upholding the integrity of the East High District, I'm going to concur with the design committee recommendations and vote no.
Commissioner Garcia Leon.
No.
Commissioner Rafael.
No.
Commissioner Simpson.
No.
Walter.
No.
Chair Tate.
No.
Motion does not carry.
Thank you very much to the applicants. At this point, I'll just advise that if your time for the application is over, you're free to leave the meeting. We'll be in touch with you in short order from the office to discuss next steps. Thank you very much for your attendance and your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director. At this time, I'd like to move to item B on new business. We'll be moving to 389-393 East 36th Street in the East Side Park Historic District. This will be a design review application for an installed vinyl fence. Do you have a report for us, Director?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application comes to us for a fencing installation, and I would like to take a moment to, again, put the photos on screen so that our historic preservation specialists can provide a report. Tim, will you please guide me? I'm going to go to the next set of photos. You can help guide me.
Yes, there should be two images for 389.
Okay, this is 389. This is the first image, correct?
Yes, Director.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and provide the report, please?
Thank you. Commissioners, you'll see the gable front revival style residence on the screen right now. This property is on East 36th Street. In summer 2020, the property owner installed a vinyl fence that goes down the length of the driveway, which is on the southerly end of the property, and also a gate, a two-door gate that closes off the driveway, and that gate is in line with the chimney of the home, about 2 to 3 feet from the from the front facade of the home. You'll note that the fence and the gate are made out of a PVC vinyl product. You'll also note that this fence is does not satisfy the East Side Park design guidelines, which call for wood materials and other authentic fabric and fencing. Also, this fence was installed without Division of Historic Preservation Commission approval, and it was flagged by the zoning inspector in summer 2020. The applicant has subsequently submitted an application to the commission. The application was reviewed by the division staff, and because it is proposing work that's already been completed, but also because it's proposing work that does not meet the guidelines, this application was forwarded to the commission for its review. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Tim. With that being said, can we have our attorney swear in the applicant for this application? Mr. Ben David?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can the applicant hear me? Hello, applicant.
Yes, you heard it.
Not ultra loud, but good enough. And can you state your name for the record?
My name is Kendra Day Jamaldin.
And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I'll be honest.
That's good. Let's proceed.
Thank you, and the applicant has the floor for their testimony.
Good evening, everyone. So, I've lived in East Side Park for 8 years, and I was aware of this being an historic district. 1, and 2, I already had the chain link fence there that was fallen for many years. It had become an eyesore, and for several reasons I had to change. 1, it was really not a very good look for my property. 2, it was not secure because my neighbors sublet to tenants and they used my yard as a portway to the Warren Street. And I just wanted something for security for my kids. The gate I put in, and I tried to keep it as far back as I possibly can to get forward, but I have a bay window there and I couldn't take it any farther in. And I think this inspector after when he was here. My kids play and the street has become a racetrack, and I can't trust that my driveway is in a slope that their bike won't run straight out into the street. So that's why I did install a gate there. And I did call in the spring of 2020 right before COVID, and I hired a licensed contractor for, and he recommended that I need a permit, but being that I was aware that the historic society, I called the zoning office, and I spoke to a woman there, and I regret not jotting her name down, and she said I did not need a permit to replace the fence nor put in a gate. However, I went ahead and I had the contractor replace the fence and install the gate. I sent both before and after photos to Mr. Henderson of what was there. The fence is in terms of the height and the length. It's the same. The only change I made was as the report said, instead of chain link, I put it in vinyl because that's what I could afford and would stand up to the weathering and the wind tunnel that was stuff there. And with that being said, everything is the same except for the material and the gate. And the gate is only for protection. And I've already reaped the benefits of this because 2 months after I installed the gate, I've had a drug bust in front of my house where the police, the narcotics team collected the drugs up the street from my house. And the individual attempted to enter my yard and search that drug. Without the fence there and the gate being there, he would have had access to my children playing in the backyard at that time. And I do have footage of this event. I can submit to the committee if necessary. like I said, I did do my due diligence. As soon as I found out I needed the permit, the pastor told me. I reached out to I think it was Timothy Henderson. I filled out the application, I sent in the photos, I sent in everything. I provided the contract information, and I tried to stay within the color variation of the house. I didn't go too exuberant. I like having the open concept with the community. The community have, that's why I put things so far back, not in front of me. It looks ugly. However, I really needed that gate there to protect my children from getting hurt and my property from getting vandalized or burglarized by individuals that are using it. As you can see, there's a staircase there. There's people renting the attic next door, and I don't want them in my yard. And my children, and I have a 100-pound dog, and for our security, I do not want people just crawling through our yard anymore. The fence that was there before was laying on the floor. It was very not secure. It was, like I said, ugly. It was just nothing that, you would want in your yard. And I'm trying to do my best to keep my property looking and secure as best as I can. And I apologize that there was a whole bunch of mix up of what we did and not did. But once I found out issue, I tried to rectify it, and here we are today. And I do that as much as I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this moment, I'd like to invite commissioners to ask the applicant questions about her testimony. Please raise your hand and the executive director will acknowledge you accordingly. Thank you.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes, as the applicant, the chain link fence on the right side, was that the same height? Or did you increase the height when you put in this?
No, it was
a 6 foot high chain link fence?
Yes. So the
6 foot high. And the gate that was there, was it the same height also?
There wasn't a gate. The gate was new because.
Oh, there wasn't a gate?
No.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
You're welcome.
Executive Director, do we have any additional questions or comments from the commissioners?
No, Mr. Chairman, no one's raising their hand to be acknowledged.
Okay, so Secretary Tim, could you provide a resolution statement of purpose for this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 20-16 is the conditional approval of a design review application for the property located at 389-393 East 36th Street, Block 8015, Lot 22.
Thank you, Tim. Commissioners, can we get a motion on the floor for this resolution? I'm sorry, who moved it?
Rafael?
Okay, and then can we get a second?
Second.
Okay, so Secretary, we have Commissioner Rafael for the motion, and then we have Commissioner Simpson for the second. Now that the resolution is open on the floor, we're open to discussion. Are there any comments based on the testimony okay?
Yes, this is Commissioner Simpson. I'd like to ask John Franco again, are there specific guidelines that pertain to this fence?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I'll get to the guidelines. I'm putting them on screen now. We just reviewed porches, and I was in the vicinity of fences. Please bear with me. Here we go. Item G, coming up on screen now. This document, for those who are watching, is the design guidelines for the Eastside Park Historic District that are published on the city's website. and are available, concerning, fences and walls. So again, we see the guidelines broken down. Looks like it might go across to the next page. So we have very simple guidance here based on 3 categories of encouragement, discouragement, and then not permitting. And you'll see that what pertains to this application is under under discouraging. It talks about new fences or walls, and does not mention existing fences. So I believe that the applicant stated that a chain link fence was already installed and was existing on property. You can see under number 2, under discouraging here at the bottom of the screen, that chain link or plastic fencing is discouraged. And you can see under not permitting, chain link or plastic fencing that is visible from the public right of way is not permitted. That would apply in this case. With that said, I would like to also make note of the commission has seen several plastic fence applications in the past after the fact that they've been installed, and the consideration was given first to talk about what the zoning ordinance prescribes and allows with regard to height and location of fences, and then we can bring in the guidelines for materials and the note here that deals with the public right of way. So what that means is, what I need to say is, referring to past practice, the commission has allowed previously installed and inappropriately installed plastic fencing in the rear of the property that is outside of the public right of way to remain, while requiring that the fencing that is installed in the view of the public right of way be switched out or swapped out for an appropriate fencing. So I believe that condition or that also applies here, and may be an appropriate guidance for the commission in this case. So when we have a fence that is a set or a gate, in this case we have a gate as well that's established sort of even with the facade of the building and going forward toward the right of way, that would be considered a front yard fence. And the front yard guidance in the zoning ordinance is a maximum of 4 feet in height. And then the fence that goes around the rear of the property or the side of the property are called side yard fences and have a maximum height of 6 feet. I believe that the Secretary Henderson conferred with the zoning officer about the situation, and I'd like him to step in here and say if he did, and what guidance was provided by the zoning officer with regard to judging the gate and the part of the fence that's forward of the building. If you please chime in here, Tim.
Yes, Mr. Director. I did speak with the zoning officer and the zoning inspector, and the explanation is that a fence in the front of a property, so that would be fencing that is forward of the front elevation of the home or in line with the front elevation of the home, that has a maximum vertical height of 4 feet. Fencing in the rear of the property may be up to 8 feet, I believe, or 6 feet. I cannot remember the number correctly. But fencing in the front of the property, which would include the sections of fence that are forward of the gate, is a maximum of 4 feet in height.
Thank you, Tim. So those are the 4 corners of the design guidelines and some past precedent that commissioners could consider in this case with regard to the replacement fencing. So that, both the chain link that was tired and was replaced definitely was an improvement to actually replace that fence. However, the plastic aspect of the material is really what is discussed here in the guidelines. So with that said, I believe that there's a committee report that might speak a little more about this topic.
Confirmed. You mind pulling up the committee report? It's on page 2, which I believe it might be page 3 of the actual PDF.
Okay, this is the one with the color pictures, but this is the one that we're looking for with the red letters.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so this is where we were with the porch in the last one, and I
If you
believe...
scroll to the top, yeah, scroll to the top of that sheet.
Yes, here we go.
Right, so regarding the fence, since the current installation of the fence is in violation as restricted by code, the committee recommends that the fence at the front yard exposure be lowered to 4 feet or below. Additionally, the committee recommends that the front portion of the vinyl fence be replaced with wood as in accordance with the published HPC guidelines. The committee recommends that the approval of the side yard fence to remain. So the built-up vinyl on the side of the yard where she replaced the chain link fence, we're essentially saying that that can remain, but the portion at the front exposure needs to be lowered and the material needs to be replaced.
Is there guidance about the gate?
Yes, the gate also needs to be lowered to 4 feet or below, entering into the backyard.
And we would.
Yes, that's included on the committee report.
Just want to bring the photo up again for people to see.
Right. Right, so if you look at the photo here, and you see the fireplace, the stack, that gate needs to be lowered to 4 feet or below, and then that post right there needs to be lowered to 4 feet or below, and they both need to be replaced with wood, is our committee recommendation. Are there any questions from the commissioners on the floor regarding these conditions?
There are none.
Well, this is Rich. I just want to say it doesn't necessarily have to be wood. It could be another approved material like Rhode Island, iron, and stuff like that.
That's correct. Those materials.
So we could consult with the applicant as to different choices of approved materials, which are different than wood, but. Yes, there are a couple of other choices. I see a question from Commissioner Corbo. Go ahead, please. Unmute.
I'm sorry, thank you. To the chair, could you clarify me when you're talking about the front post? I'm looking at more than one post. Are you just saying the first one needs to be changed?
I believe the first one, because the second one would be considered part of the rear. But we can look at that further internally with the executive director and the secretary to verify completely. But I believe,
can we just say from the portion of the fence going back to where the gate is? That whole section there, from the front to where the gate is.
Right. So you're recommending that we keep that post that's built existing to remain, and we just lower that whole fence and gate area surrounding that post.
Well, but that post is vinyl. So we don't want a vinyl post there.
Right. So okay. So you're saying.
A wood fence 4 feet high to the back to where the gate is, and then the gate is also 4 feet high.
Confirmed. Are there any additional questions on the floor or conditions?
Do not see any. So would that be without any further comments or questions by the commissioners or discussion, then what Commissioner Walter said in the committee report, would that be the conditions of the conditional approval? Mr. Chairman?
Confirmed. in the committee report, we put wood, but they could be replaced with any approved material. And also, it would be to the back, to the gate, and the front post would be the replacement of the existing built-up stuff.
Okay, so those are the conditions on the floor for a conditional approval of this application, commissioners.
Can we get a roll call for the commission, the conditional approval of this application per our discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Leon.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Rafael.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, you're muted still.
Pardon. So, moving forward, the applicant will be in touch with the executive director about moving forward on next steps. Thank you. So, I'd like to move forward to item C under new business. We are moving forward to 413-415 18th Avenue in the Eastside Park Historic District. It's a design review application for the install of vinyl fence. Director, do you have a report?
Yes, thank you. We'd like to introduce this application, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to put on screen the photographs for us to refer to. Bear with me. This is the current application. We have several photos to go over. I would just, before I turn it over to our historic preservation specialist, Tim Henderson, to provide the report, I'd like to note that this building was reviewed by the commission some time ago, in recent times actually. I'm sorry to say I don't have the year that it was reviewed, but this building was purchased via an internet sale. It was renovated and then it was put back on the market very quickly. So the changes that you see to the building are not what the application is about. At the time of the review, no fencing was part of the review, and this fence was installed subsequent to the review for the changes to the exterior of the house. There is another photograph you'll see of the front, but this is the rear of the house. This is a corner lot. So with that said, I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Henderson to provide his report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. And I'll ask you to please sweep through the photographs as I introduce the application. This property is located at the corner of 18th Avenue and East 40th Street. You'll note that the fence wraps from the garage, which is on East 39th Street, and then continues to the public right-of-way, and then to the front of the home, stretching past that sunroom, what was previously, I'm not quite sure. But this fence does not extend to the front of the property, so it's important for the commission to understand that the zoning code does not reduce the height of this particular fence to 4 feet because it is not in the front of the property. The fence was similar to the other applications the commission has heard today, was flagged by the zoning inspector. The property owner was issued a zoning notice, and the property owner then met with the division staff to submit an application for this fence retroactively. The fence is a composite material. It is not specifically vinyl. It is a Saint Germain guaranteed product. It is in my internet research, it is a composite material, so it's not specifically vinyl, but it does have a PVC content, and you can see that it's textured to simulate stacked stone. The fence is again wraps very close to the property, and then has a single gate that is adjacent to the garage to access the rear of the property. The fence is also very tight against that sunroom on the easterly side of the property. That concludes my report, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Tim. At this time, I'd like to have the applicant sworn in by our attorney, Mr. Ben David.
Okay, you can hear me. Can the applicant hear me?
Yes.
Can the applicant hear me? Hello, applicant.
Hello.
Hello. Can you state your name for the record?
Nina Miaveo.
All right. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Let's proceed.
Good evening, all. In regards to my case, as of why we are here today, we had called the engineering study department to ask if we needed permission to install the fence, and they told us that it was not indeed necessary. If we would have known beforehand, we wouldn't have done it without the city's permission. The fence was installed because the house itself experienced robbery, as we were robbed twice. A police report on this house stated the first time being that the kitchen was fully stolen. The second attempt was also targeted in the kitchen. We have both reports here. We even applied an alarm system from ADT and was ripped off and stolen during the second attempted robbery as well. This raised my concern and did not feel safe enough to leave my house at times with my kids at home. Also considering that I have a 2-year-old daughter, so I really needed for protection. I truly apologize for the inconvenience as we were not fully informed about this information. As soon as we found out about the situation, we attempted our best to verify and find out a resolution in every right and legal way possible. This is indeed our first time purchasing a house. Once we purchased the house, we were not informed about the whole historic district.
Thank you, ma'am. Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to invite our commissioners to ask questions to the applicant. Please raise your hand, and our executive director will reach out to you accordingly. Thank you. John Franco, do you see any commissioners?
I do not. It doesn't seem that there are questions for the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Tim, do you have a resolution statement of purpose for this address?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2017 is the conditional approval of a design review application for the property located at 413-415 18th Avenue, Block 8005, Lot 9.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, can I get a motion for the prepared resolution?
So moved.
A second. All right, so it was moved by Commissioner Rafael and seconded by Commissioner Simpson. So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for discussion regarding this application. Please raise your hand and John Franco will address you accordingly.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes, this is Commissioner Simpson. Can I please see a view of the property from the other side, the other street?
Yes. It takes a little bit, but I'm moving it. I noticed I'm getting some lag in my connection. Just bear with us here. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. I've got to go through a couple more. And one more. Okay, this is the view from the corner, and you can see the fence appears to be attached to or is very close to the corner of the sun porch here.
Yes. So that's the angle I wanted to look at the property, because as you can see, the fence is attached to the property and it's covering what looks like a porch window. Am I correct?
I believe so. You mean it's obscuring or blocking a porch window, these windows on the side of the sun porch?
Yes.
Confirmed. Any other questions? Commissioner Walter.
Yes, I think this is, it's not approved material, it's not approved by the guidelines, I think it should be removed, and if they want to put an approved fence there, they should come back to the commission at that point.
Did everyone hear what the commissioner said? I only heard half of it. Can you restate that, Commissioner Walter?
Okay. Yes, I said I think this is a no-brainer. It's not made of improved material, and I think it should be completely removed, this fence. And if they want to come back with a new fence, they should come back to the commission with a new proposal.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? I'm looking for your hands. Please raise your hands.
Do we have any more comments or questions? Executive?
Apparently not. There is a committee report, however.
Yes. Could you pull up the screen? It's on page 2. It's in the middle of the sheet. Right there. So for this application, the fence and yard enclosure, since the current installation of the fence is in violation as restricted by code and HPC guidelines, the committee recommends that the fence be entirely removed. And as Commissioner Walter stated, the applicant must return back with an appropriate application. Any questions?
Okay, I just wanted to clarify something, if I might. The removal of the fence does not mean that the applicant cannot have a fence. Having a fence is okay. It's considered a side yard fence, as our report told us from Mr. Henderson earlier on. So the sort of height of the fence for the security purposes that were mentioned by the applicant's testimony would still be possible. I just wanted to clarify that for the commissioners and for the applicant. This is the report and the comments made by the commissioners would not interfere with your right to have a fence for security in this location. It's just the type of fence and sort of the configuration of it a little bit where it's close to the building, as pointed out by Commissioner Simpson. Thank you.
Confirmed. Are there any other comments or questions?
So in this case, commissioners, we have a motion on the floor for conditional approval of the fence. The committee's recommendation is for the denial of the fence, so it would need to be removed. So if there are no conditions for approval or keeping the fence as it is installed, or with conditions, if you have conditions that you'd like to mention for the approval of this application, you need to mention them now. Otherwise, we'll have to also get some comments on the floor about accepting the recommendation of the committee report. Otherwise, you'll be calling a roll for conditional approval. I wanted to point that out, similar as I had done previously. I see that Commissioner Corbo would like to make a comment. Please go ahead.
So then can we change the resolution for conditional approval to be for a fence but with appropriate material?
No, the application stands as presented with materials as presented. This is an application asking for the approval of the materials as presented, as stated by as stated several times during this portion. The protocol would be for the applicant to apply for a new fence, with the materials that would be considered appropriate, and showing us a drawing of the location of the fence, etc. So that would be another application would come in, and that application, if it follows the guidelines, could be approved administratively. There would not be a need to come back to the commission for full approval.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional comments or questions on the floor?
I see none.
Okay, so can we get a roll call for the committee's recommendations on this resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what we're voting on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clarify for me because I am.
What we're calling for is the removal of the fence and the reapplication of a appropriate fence for this application and this address.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's not correct. I think we're voting on the resolution for a conditional approval. And if we want to deny that,
Then we go no.
accept that approval, but that's the resolution that's on the floor. Correct.
Can we confirm that?
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. The motion that's on the floor is for conditional approval. If you do not want to approve this application, then you would vote no on this roll call. If you'd like to approve this application, then you can add any conditions, and we can discuss them now. Or the committee's report is recommending sort of not to approve this resolution, just to be clear. So that's the guidance.
Executive Director, just for clarity, the materiality of this fence, can you just briefly discuss what the guidelines say about the materiality so the whole commission is on board?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to refer back to the design guidelines for fencing. This was not a previously existing fence. That's something that I believe was established from the report that I provided when the building was first reviewed for its changes prior to its being put back on the market for sale. Fencing was not included as part of the review, and the fencing was added subsequently after the sale. So this was is considered a new fence. So it falls under the portion of the guidelines for discouraging new fences to be installed where no fence was previously installed historically. So that's the first point with regard to the guidelines. And the other portion of the guidelines concern plastic fencing, which is the materiality of the fencing. It does not make a comment about whether it's a picket fence or, in this case, it's got a stone pattern to it. and the compatibility of design of the fence. It just talks specifically about the material. So this is a generic sort of set of materials with regard to plastic, which covers a variety of polymer materials. The word plastic, I recall when we were discussing the design guidelines years ago, when we were putting them together, would be the most obviously understandable or recognizable language to use. But this could also mean a polymer fence. So polymer isn't as clear to everyone, so we opted for the language of plastic. So this, I would argue that this fence falls into that materiality, and it is also in the, visible from the right of way, being that it's a corner lot. So that's how the guidelines would apply in this case to the application.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any additional comments based on the executive director's statement in reference to the guidelines?
I see none.
Okay. Secretary, can we get a roll call for, the conditional approval or denial of the resolution?
Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbett. Oh.
No.
Commissioner Garcia Leon.
No.
Commissioner Rafael.
No.
Commissioner Simpson.
No.
Commissioner Walter.
No.
Chair Tate.
No.
Motion does not carry.
Thank you very much. Applicant, the executive director will be in touch with you with next steps. John Franklin, do you want to say anything to the applicant?
No, Mr. Chair. Just the same that we'll reach out and we'll reach out both in writing and in a phone call to go over any questions and what options you have for next steps. Thank you very much for attending our meeting this evening.
Thank you. So we're going to move to letter D under new business. This is 685-687 20th Avenue, Eastside Park Historic District. This is a design review application to install vinyl siding and replacement windows. Executive Director, do you have a report for this application?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'd like to provide context and background on this application. First, bear with me till I can get to the photographs that we can refer to. I believe that I may need to, again, I'm having a bit of a slow connection, but this is the application that we're dealing with. And I would ask Mr. Henderson to provide the report and the context for the application. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to first clarify that, unlike the other applications the Commission has reviewed this evening, this property is not a violation referral. The property owner submitted a design review application for the proposed exterior work, and he has patiently waited for his hearing with the Commission. This property is a large, presently multifamily property on the northern side of 20th Avenue. The property currently has a mixture of shingle and clapboard wood siding, as well as a number of wood windows and also some later replacement windows. Collectively, all of the windows are beginning to fail, and the property owner would like to replace them. Similarly, the property owner would like to replace the mixture of siding that exists on the building with a vinyl clapboard product. The property owner understood that The design guidelines discourage replacement of wood materials with vinyl materials. The property owner's application was administratively denied by the executive director and forwarded to the commission for public hearing. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Henderson.
Tim. Can we please have the applicant for this address sworn in by our attorney, Mr. Ben David?
All right, can you state your name for the record, sir? Or madam? Can the applicant hear me?
The applicant is the 862 number, Gianfranco, and I noticed that he is still muted.
Hello?
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 Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Patrick Daly?
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Daly, because you're about to give testimony, I'll ask, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, we do.
Good choice. Let's proceed.
Okay, so, we bought this house, and, in this neighborhood, there's a lot of houses surrounded us with vinyl siding and vinyl windows. Our main objective is to make our house look good. Right now it's the outside, actually, the external looks very deplorable for the neighborhood, so we want to uplift and, brighten the neighborhood. We want our house to be beautiful, just as the rest of houses. All the houses that surround us do have vinyl siding and vinyl windows. So we're asking the commission to, grant us a favor to, change this, all this wooden that's falling off the house, and the windows are like in a deplorable condition. Just to give us access to put vinyl sidings and vinyl windows. And we thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes, sir. I do believe it does.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to our commissioners to ask Mr. Daly any questions about his testimony. Please.
Bailey.
Bailey. Pardon me. Commissioners, please raise your hand and Executive Director will address you accordingly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Executive.
I see no questions. I see no questions so far. I just I would like to ask Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey, the house, your house. Did you have you owned it for a long time? Did you buy it like this?
We bought it like this.
Okay. About how many years ago?
No, we just bought it like in August.
Okay, recently. Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Tim, do you have a resolution of purpose for this particular applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2018 is the conditional approval of the design review application for the property located at 685-687 20th Avenue, Block 8022, Lot 15.
Confirmed. Can we get a motion on the floor for the prepared resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Simpson. We have a second?
If nobody else will do it, I'll do it, Rich.
Commissioner Walter, second. Okay, so now we're officially open for discussion on the application. Please raise your hand and the Executive Director will address you.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes, I'd like to, I've read the committee report, I'd like to follow their recommendations. So I think we should not let the siding be changed to vinyl siding because guidelines definitely prohibit that. And the windows, I would love to see wood windows back in there, but definitely not vinyl. So I would like to stick with the proposal of having him put in either the wood or the composite fiberglass windows in the house. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Walter. Do we have any other?
Any other comments before we see the committee report? Should I give a review of the guidelines, Mr. Chair?
Yes, just for reference.
I'd very much like to thank Mr. Bailey, the applicant, for applying, preparing this application prior to executing work on his building. This is the way that we would like to see all the applications here at the Commission come forward. So there's a good opportunity for applicants and the commissioners to look at the guidelines and together come to some appropriate conclusions. In the guidelines and the guidance that the Commission follows, and the published guidance, the word is often struck as quote unquote appropriate, what would be appropriate for building, as we consider materiality and existing conditions. And we take a lot of reference from authentic conditions and existing conditions both. And in some cases, you may buy a home that already has vinyl siding or aluminum siding. Aluminum siding was something typical of probably several decades ago, going back to the 50s and 60s, even into the 1970s, before vinyl siding became, as sort of rising in popularity and availability, became as popular as it is today. So a lot of the vinyl siding that you see around you in the district may have been put in by owners, either current owners or owners prior to the new owners, as far back as the 70s or 80s, or even more recently. However, the new owners who would buy the property with the vinyl siding would inherit the vinyl siding. So we at the Commission look at the conditions that you purchase with the building. That's important for us to know in terms of the conditions, context of the building. Your building was purchased with authentic siding. These are materials that our guidelines tell us to respect and preserve, and is the main purpose of our work with the architecture in the side and other historic districts in the city. So the guidelines definitely point out it. I'm pointing out this particular page because it refers to the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties and their published guidelines, and the Secretary of Interior standards call for the maintenance and respecting of these authentic features. So I have them up on screen, and we look into the ability to replace deteriorated historic features or repair them based on their serviceability, and that's under number 6 here on screen, talking about when authentic features can be repaired rather than replaced. We, as a Commission, should be guided to always seek to have them repaired instead of replaced. Also, we have a guidance that to preserve the historic character of the property. Number 2, we shall do our best to retain and preserve it. So the removal of historic materials or alteration of features that characterize the authenticity of the building should be avoided. So these are the the guidance that we're under. And again, the current condition of your home is that it has authentic materials, and these materials are somewhat can be considered somewhat unique because, as you mentioned, sir, when you look up and down your block or other blocks, you'll see that there's been a lot of change over time, going back decades, with windows and siding and materials that actually need to be replaced in old buildings. In your case, the materials were not changed, and they're in rough shape. They need to be either changed or they need to be repaired based on the serviceability quotient of the material. The commission is used to looking at these applications similar to yours in the past, and there is some precedent for how the commission has handled other applications. And I would like to go back to the design guidelines now to point out, I'm sorry, I keep switching here, but this is the page where I was in the Eastside Park design guidelines. On screen in the guidelines is a house on number 570 Park Avenue, is an example of a previous application that we've seen with authentic shingle, cedar shingle, on the principal facade and around every facade of the house. So the applicant in this case insisted on replacing this siding, asked the commission for putting on different siding, vinyl product, and it was denied. However, the applicant decided that the serviceability of his siding was to a point where he did not want to repair it, but rather he wanted to replace it. So he is actually in process now of replacing the siding in kind, which means it's authentic cedar siding. It's new cedar siding, but it's the same material in many and really all aspects as the historic material that he's replacing. So this would be the guidance that we find in the guidelines for in general, and then of course for siding. I'm getting down to that specific portion of the guidelines with regard to number 2 here, wood siding. So it talks about wooden features shall be preserved and retained, and this is what's encouraged: retention, protection, repair of wood trim, original wood siding. This fits this application to a T. So the discouraged column talks about the discouragement of aluminum or vinyl siding, other than if it already exists, in which case we have made other applications where we deal with existing conditions. So with regard to the siding, the guidance provided here is to repair or replace it exactly in kind, if the desire is to replace it because of serviceability. We find that a lot of these historic materials are not serviceable, and we also find that a lot of these historic materials are repairable. So it really needs to be between the applicant and their contractor to determine and share with us their decision, because obviously all of this bears on the size of the project and the cost of it and how long it takes and so forth. So this is the kind of consultation that should go on with the applicant and the contractor doing the work. With regard to the windows, as noted before, some of the windows that exist are already replaced as vinyl windows. I understand that the applicant is seeking to change out all the windows for a vinyl product. And I believe the committee discussion provides a somewhat excellent alternative to vinyl that is not wood, but wood is definitely an option. The applicant would like to know more about replacement in wood, or even a wood-clad product. We can definitely discuss the more appropriate, approved by the guidelines products that would work in this case. So that would be the conclusion of my report to you about how the guidelines and the standards apply to this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Commissioners, are there any questions about the Director's report from the guidelines as it pertains to this application? Director, do you see any commissioners?
I do not.
Okay. Would it be appropriate to read our committee recommendations at this time?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go to the committee report on page 1, which is, I guess, it's page 2 of the PDF.
Yes, it's the top of the report, right? The first one. Here we go.
Right. So regarding the siding, the committee does not recommend the installation of the proposed vinyl siding and recommends that the applicant either scrapes and repaints the existing wood siding or replaces the existing shingles in kind. With regards to the window, as the director mentioned in his report, the committee does not recommend the installation of the proposed vinyl windows. The committee recommends the installation of either wood or composite fiberglass, and by either Anderson or Marvin, but that could be determined internally with the executive director and staff. Regarding trim, the committee recommends the existing trim to remain if possible. And this is based on our guidelines. Are there any questions from the commission regarding our committee report?
Yes, this is Commissioner Simpson. I'd just like to state that if this is going to be, the recommendation is going to be a part of the resolution, that we take out the brand name Anderson or Marvin.
Confirmed. Are there any additional comments?
I see none.
Okay. With that being said, do we have can we get a roll call for the conditional approval of this application per our conditions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Leon,
Yes.
Commissioner Rafael,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Walter,
No.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Jim Franco will be in touch with you for next steps. Thank you for coming to this meeting. Moving forward, we're going to item E under new business. This is for 378-382 East 42nd Street in the Eastside Park Historic District. This is a design review application for the construction of a single-family home on a subdivided lot. Director, do you have any report for this application?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to provide an introduction to this application. So the applicant, Mr. Burnett Hussey, has been working on this application and this project to construct a home for himself and his wife in the Eastside Park Historic District for quite some time. And he's contacted us, and we went through the steps to guide him in the application materials that were needed for the project. So over a period of time, starting several months ago, we did receive application materials that were distributed to the commissioners as part of the meeting packet. So I hope that everyone may have had a chance to refer to them. We have some of them to show you this evening as well as part of this report, and also, in testimony from the applicant. So, sorry, I'd like to start off the report by showing some context with regard to the survey and the location of the property in the Eastside Park Historic District. Just bear with me while I grab a document to open up to show you. so here's the tax map with the property location outlined in red. You can see the property is located between 18th and 19th Avenue on 42nd Street. It's not the corner lot, but it's just within the corner lot. If you can't see I'm assuming everyone can see this. If you can't see it, I hope you'll tell me. So we have the position of the property here. And I'm not going to tell you much about the property. I'll leave that to the testimony of the applicant, but I want to show you its location. And also, while the applicant is providing his testimony about the project, I'll be showing you the elevation drawings that were submitted so that you can refer to them as he's giving his testimony. So this is a single-family residence. This is an R1 zone. The application for a minor subdivision upon which conditions that the applicant purchase the property are clearly stated in the planning board resolution that we did also review and check with that the footprint of the building and the survey that was provided is where the building by rights can be located. So this review will be based on our design guidelines and guidance for new construction in a historic district. There was not a previously existing building on this property, so we do not have context for, let's say a fire or a previously existing building with regard to design reference. The lot historically has been vacant and part of the side yard or rear yard situation attached to the corner property, and the subdivision is what made it available for construction as a buildable lot. Again, I'm trying not to go too far into the application, but I wanted to provide the location of the building and the materials that we were given as part of the design review application that comes before you. I'll leave it to the applicant to provide further testimony about the building itself and the different materiality of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. At this time, can we please have the applicant sworn in by our attorney, Mr. Ben David?
Can the applicant hear me? Can the applicant hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can.
That means there'll be two people testifying in this matter?
Yes.
Okay, sir, can you state your name for the record?
My name is Greg Hussey.
Greg Hussey, and the other person who will be testifying is?
It's Bernard Hussey.
All right, let's start with Mr. Hussey. Mr. Hussey, you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Correctly, yes.
And Mrs. Hussey, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It's two Mr. Husseys. I'm his son.
Sorry, well,
One's Bernard Hussey, one's Greg Hussey.
please forgive the misidentification, but sir, Mr. Hussey, the younger Mr. Hussey, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, apologize again for the misidentification.
No problem.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to put up pictures of the plans you sent, as we talked about earlier, so it will help you with talking about your project. While I'm doing that, do you want to talk about the land and the section of the how you came to get the land and the approvals for the building, please?
You got to say that. Well, the land was purchased on January 2nd, but prior to that, we met with the planning board and had for a subdivision in September 2018 is when we actually submitted to the planning board, and then we had approval in November. We eventually were able to purchase the property and closed on it in January of this year. And then we've been in contact with with the historic department and trying to obtain a permit. And that's when we tried to get a building permit, is where we were told we needed to get in touch with the Historical Society on getting approval before we can actually get the foundation started. So that started earlier this year, as Mr. John Franco talked about. We've been in the process since, and that's where we were told that there's certain things that we needed to do in building up the property to make sure that we initially we spoke about vinyl windows, and we found that we couldn't do that. And then we've been in discussion about the other properties, the stone and bricks and stucco that we could use on the exterior of the property. So at this point, we did get to the point because it was holding us up. So I had a meeting with Mr. Tim Henderson and John Franco, where instead of trying to get everything approved, they gave us a temporary. Allowed us to get a temporary permit where we could at least get the foundation and footing done, which we appreciated. During that time, we were able to still discuss on what the plans from the exterior of the home. And I think we've come to an understanding where we will have a combination of stucco, brick, and stone on the exterior. And I believe unless it's open for discussion, doesn't appear that it is. We initially again wanted vinyl windows. It appears, going from what they told us prior and viewing the other applicants tonight, that might not be possible. But if it is, even if we were able to do vinyl windows on the side and other windows on the front. If not, again, we understand where you stand with that. But what we're going after right now, again, basically is just getting the stucco, stone, and brick on the property. We currently have the foundation basically done, and we're hoping that we can get approved so we can get into the next phase.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hussey. Bear with me now because I'm getting to the plans of the building. And if you don't mind, I would like to go. As you know, the commission is primarily concerned with the materials that are being chosen, all these different materials that we have talked about with you for months now. So just going to go over each side of the building with the drawings that you showed us, and just go ahead and describe what the building is like. Go ahead with the materials and how tall is it and stuff like that.
Well, the roof we're looking at now, we're talking about that would be the dark gray. The bottom portion from the first roof down, that would be stone. And then stucco would be from the first roof to the second roof. We'd have stucco up top. So that's stucco up top, stone from the first roof down to the garage, and to the right, the steps would be brick in the front. And if you show a picture of the side section, you see for the top of the basement where it meets the first floor, from there down to the ground would be bricks around the right side, the left side, and the back. And everything above from where the basement meets the first floor up to the roof would be stucco. Concrete stucco. And like I said, same thing with the back. So we're dealing with, besides the front, the left, right, and back side will be brick and stucco.
Okay, I've just gone through the different sides of the building, the front, the sides, and the rear, and what you just mentioned matches what the notes are here on the plans. Just wanted to point that out for everyone. And these kind of bold notes here are also, I know the resolution of this isn't the greatest, but these were also forwarded to the commission as part of the packet as well. Just want to let you know. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to interject that I've shown all four of the elevations now that matches the, verbal testimony you just provided. Can you say how tall is this building in reference to buildings around there? Is it taller than the other buildings? Same size? What is your opinion about it?
I believe it's about the same. It's about the same size. If not, maybe in some cases it'd be lower. We have a building if you're facing the property to our direct right, that has a basement and I believe 3 other floors. Has a first floor, second floor, and an attic. So that would put that property, I believe, at the same, if not higher than ours. So our property falls within the guidelines of that area. There's another property to the side that's smaller, but within the properties that in that area, it appears to fall within the same size.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hussey, does that conclude your testimony?
I believe from what is required for what we're discussing today, yes.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to invite commissioners to ask questions to the applicant. Please raise your hand and our director will address you accordingly. Thank you.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes, I have a question about the windows. The windows, you're saying you want vinyl windows around the whole property. Of course, vinyl windows are not recommended in the historic district. Have you considered other types of windows?
Yes, we're going to do metal. What we spoke about with the vinyl was our original request. We've spoken to Mr. Henderson and Mr. Gianfranco about that. We are, I believe we've come to the conclusion we're going to do a type of metal windows that are allowed. The vinyl windows are just more of an initial request.
And also, if the other commissioners haven't noted, and I have nothing against it, but there's a certain portion of the bottom where those garage doors are actually dipped down into the ground, so the height of the building is not really as high as the picture makes it look.
The height of the building is not really what it makes it look. Where the garage door drops down.
Yeah, garage below ground level, right? I'm looking at the bottom of the steps, and it's like at the first floor. So that makes the building not as high as it looks in this picture.
So yes, the
building is, and it actually looks in the picture.
Yes, the garage door does go down lower than the steps. Yes, the step meet dirt, then the garage does go down. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. It wasn't really a question, it was just a statement so the other commissioners realize that. Thank you.
Do we have
any other questions, commissioners? I don't see any other questions this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Tim, do you have a resolution statement of purpose for this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2019 is the conditional approval of a design review application for the property located at 378-382 East 42nd Street, Block 8010, Lot 4.
Thank you, Tim. Can we get a motion for the prepared resolution? Do we have a motion for the prepared resolution?
Motion.
All right, so that's Commissioner Rafael. Second.
Okay.
And then we have Commissioner
I was going to say second.
Was that Commissioner Corbel?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. So now the floor is open to discussion. Please raise your hand and the Executive Director will address you accordingly.
Commissioner Walter, is that you raising your hand?
I I never loaded from before, but yes, I have a statement, a question. I like this application. It's a modern building that sort of fits in with the historic district, but it doesn't recreate history. I think everything is pretty good the way they've got it. Little details have to be worked out with John Franco as far as the buttons in the windows and how many lights are over what and stuff like that. But in general, I like this application. Thank you. Oh, a question. Are we going to open this up for public? Are we going to open this up for public discussion at some point?
Well, I'm not informed by that's a bit of an issue. Let's see here. I do have new call-in information that we need to announce here live because unless IT has changed the access information that is published on the website, as you recall, we had a problem starting the meeting because they could not connect with the information that was generated earlier in the day for the public portion, and I have not checked to see if IT has been able to. Okay, I did receive a message now from IT that the website was updated since the new information was received. So what that means is if people have been watching the meeting who want to make comments, they have the appropriate information to call in. Because this is a new construction in the Side Park Historic District, and we have received questions about this application prior to the meeting, it would be at the discretion of the chair if he wants to us to ask the public to call in at this time. It would be important to do, for this application. It would be important to do this now prior to a vote being taken so that the commissioners can hear input from the public on the application. So this would not be the formal public portion, but similar to the way the planning board handles their call-in on an application basis, the chair could ask for us to take time out to solicit the input from the public. But you would have to go ahead and tell us that you want to do that.
I would suggest to the chair that we do that. Thank you.
Confirmed. I believe we should do that. Is it appropriate that we have the public call in before I guess do we continue our discussion and have them call in after, or do we have our discussion after they call in? Once we call
we probably my guidance to you is that we should have the call-in period while we're in discussion, because we have a motion on the floor, and before taking the vote on the motion, you want an opportunity to hear the public, so for obvious reasons. So the testimony of the public, or the input of the public should be heard prior to the vote. Since we have a motion on the floor, if there's not any objection by the attorney, then my recommendation would be to go ahead and announce the call-in information, provide a timeline, and then wait and see if people are out there listening and would like to call in.
John Franco, through the chair, this is Commissioner Simpson. Is this public portion open to those who only want to speak on this application and this application only, or is it just general public portion?
This would be just for this application. We would have a general public portion toward the end of the meeting, as we usually do.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
With that said, Tim, could you please provide the public with the access information to call in for this particular project and the given timeline?
Yes, Mr. Director, has the information changed from what I took off the website?
Yes, I have the information. I'll provide it since I have the updated information. Thank you. So for members of the public who are watching this meeting, who would like to call in to provide comments to our commissioners about this application, please call the following phone number, 973-321-1579, and then use the following access code: 711-680-001. You'll be connected to our IT department that will let us know that you're waiting to speak to the commissioners. Again, the phone number to call is 973-321-1579, and the code to enter for access is 711-680-001. Mr. Chairman, the time is now 9 p.m., and we'll keep the line open for 2 minutes, if that seems appropriate to you.
Confirmed. Thank you. Director, the call is that the time is now 9:02 p.m. Did IT alert you of any public calls?
Mr. Chairman, there are no public calls.
Okay, we'll close that public portion of this application and we'll return back to our discussion. Are there any additional comments or questions before we read our committee report on this particular application?
Mr. Chairman, should I provide pictures with some context for the buildings around the area as well? I do have photos to show on that in that regard.
Yes, I think that would be helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, we've gone through the materiality of the building. I just wanted to make a note about the stucco coating proposed is the traditional three-coat stucco application. This is a wood frame building, and the wood would be covered with a lath, and then a bottom coat, or what's called a scratch coat, and then a final coat that's sort of impregnated with the color of the stucco would be in place as the finished coat. So this is considered a traditional material that is found in historic buildings in the district, and would be considered an appropriate finish for this new construction. Noted, the other materials involved here are a brick water table, as well as stone facing for the front to break up the massing of the building and to allow some additional architectural definition to this building. And we have some other photos to show you of context with the surrounding neighborhood. So this is sort of a bit of an older photo now, because the applicants have installed their footings and foundation, and as Commissioner Walter pointed out, the partially submerged foundation. So you can see very clearly in this photo the line of the ground, or we call the grade, and this is a partially submerged foundation. Part of it sticks up above the ground, and there are windows in the basement, and part of it is below grade. So you get a sense of that configuration with these photos. Again, my picture viewer is running a bit slow, so just bear with me as I'm paging through here. I think I'm going a little faster than the computer is. So Mr. Hussey was telling you that one of the adjacent properties is actually lower. This photo illustrates the adjacent property. That's a smaller house. It's a one-story, actually, and it is like a newer building, and it is executed in brick. And here we have an opportunity to see what's across the street. We see gable-end buildings that are executed in two different materials, similar to what's proposed with regard to masonry on the bottom and then a clapboard up above. This is a typical stylization on this block. I noticed as I was reviewing the materials in general are traditional materials. The hipped roof of the proposed building matches the hipped roofs of these two that are in the that are across the street. Of course, we have brick, and we have again the division of this second building that I'm pointing out now with masonry below and a different material above and the second story. This is another similar language that's being adopted in the new building. So this is a view of the property, as it were, prior to the excavation and installation of the foundations. That's the adjacent home. You can see the driveway and the detached garage of the home on the corner lot to the other side. This view shows the corner lot. This is a much larger building with a detached garage executed in the same fashion of a sort of a middle roof with masonry below with clapboards up above. Again, a similar language to what is being proposed in this proposed building. And of course, the scale, as Mr. Hussey also mentioned, is quite different between the corner building and the newer building. Let's call this a non-historic building, an infill building, to the other side of the property, immediately the immediate neighbor of the property. Again, see here are some examples of the use of stone facing to help break down scale and give some additional architectural interest to some of the buildings on the block. I believe I have several examples where stone facing was used in this execution. These are photos of the buildings across the street. Oh, I did not. I had a couple of other stone-facing examples, but I'm sorry that I did not download them from my email. I thought they were in here, but they're not. So this is just going to repeat back from the beginning. I will point out, though, that at the end of this block, the commission approved many years ago, actually, a home that was kind of out of scale. It was like much larger, and it was a prefab home that was brought in pieces and then assembled on the site. And we had a similar issue where there was not an application to the commission prior to the ordering of this building. So we worked hard with the applicants to make some improvements to the exterior of the building so that it would fit better into the streetscape and break down the scale of the building by using materiality. In that building, in the photo that I don't have to show you, that particular building was eventually approved by the commission. I did a lot of work on that building administratively as well, and we used a whole set of stone-facing materials to assist with breaking down the scale and having it fit more into the stylization of the context of the block. So I was going to show that one also as a new building example on this block. So we have the building immediately adjacent or next door to this one, which is where the black Jeep is in this photo, as what we call a new building. And then the one I just mentioned at the other end of the block is another new building on this block. And there are definitely 2 or 3 other examples on this block alone of the use of stone-facing material to break down scale. So I'm sorry that I didn't have those photos out of my email to show you, but at least I been able to provide the verbal report to you on the context. I believe that the working with the applicant to provide some additional features such as the brick water table and stone facing on the front of the building have really helped to bring this building into better context with the rest of the block. Insofar as the windows, I know that the applicants are proposing vinyl windows, and are asking for your consideration of those windows. But I'll stop here and wait to hear the committee report on the windows. That concludes my comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Before I read the committee...
Just wait. Could I just inject before John Franco, in my discussion earlier with them, they're now proposing a metal window and not a vinyl window. Thanks.
Confirmed. So before I read the committee report, I just want to say that we met, our design review committee met, maybe a month ago, and we actually provided information for the applicant to revise certain things that were, apparently in our guidelines. They made the adjustments, and a lot of it has showed up in today's, meeting. And with that being said, I will read the committee recommendations. So regarding the stucco, the committee recommends the approval of the proposed cementitious stucco cladding to be an off-white tint as proposed by the applicant. Regarding the asphalt shingles, the committee recommends the approval of the proposed black or gray, and they emphasize gray, asphalt composite shingles to match the adjacent properties. Regarding stone cladding, the committee recommends the approval of the proposed stone clad on the front or east elevation. Stone control samples will be reviewed and approved internally by Gianfranco and the HPC staff as required. Regarding the front entry steps, the committee recommends the approval of the proposed distressed brick, risers, and bluestone treads and landing. These materials should also be reviewed, the control samples, by the HPC staff. Regarding the side brick cladding, the committee recommends the approval of the proposed distressed brick cladding at the side and rear elevations from grade to the level of the front entrance stair landing. Regarding windows, it says the committee does not approve the proposed installation of vinyl. We rectified that. They said metal. The committee recommends the installation of either wood, Now here's a slight adjustment. Wood or composite fiberglass or approved windows. And we're going to remove the manufacturers as per the previous applications. The acceptable manufacturer specifications and details are to be reviewed by the HPC office as required. All proposed windows, I'm adding doors, profiles, garage door details shall be further developed for internal HPC review and subsequent approvals. And these would be approved by John Franco and Tim internally. The only additional item that doesn't appear here is downspout and gutter details and locations, but that could be reviewed and approved by John Franco and the HPC staff. Any questions on our committee report?
I see a question, Mr. Chair.
It appears that Rich has his hand up. Is that from before or?
Pretty sure it's from before.
Confirmed. So with that being said, can we get a roll call for the conditional approval for this application? As per our committee report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Leon.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Raffel.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Hussey, we will be in touch with you via John Franco for further steps. Thank you for your attendance at this meeting. Okay, so commissioners, regarding the agenda, we're going to move past item 3, the approval of the minutes. Those are still under review internally. Is that correct, Director?
Yes, we'll bring these meetings to our next meeting. We'll have 2 sets of minutes to approve for next time.
Confirmed. So with that being said, we're going to move to administrative matters. We're going to start with A, the COVID-19 state of emergency protocols. Director, do you have a report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a part of our ongoing agenda since the COVID protocols were put in place to kind of give commissioners and members of the public watching an idea of how things are changing or staying the same from month to month. In this case, the city of Paterson was directed to, because of the rise in COVID cases, I know everyone is aware of the emergency situation that we're in with regard to this new wave of corona cases that are being reported and people seeking medical care for corona-related illnesses. And we've gone back to an appointment-only basis with regard to our public, a meeting with our public face-to-face. We have published the guidance on the HPC's website through the City of Paterson website for anyone who is interested in finding that guidance about how to make an appointment with us. We still are available for meeting in the field, to do site reviews, to help with applications. We've done a lot of business with our applicants on phone and via email. Applications are still available online for download and can be forwarded to us via email. The information is clearly provided on the HPC's page as part of the City of Paterson's website. So we have sort of gone back from a relaxed protocol to a bit more stringent, but we are still working in the office and we are still able to do face-to-face meetings, but only by appointment. This is to help slow down the number of people that are coming to the public buildings on a daily basis so that we know we are meeting with people on a appointment-only basis. That concludes my report about the emergency protocols.
Thank you, Director. Commissioner Walter, it appears that your phone needs to be muted or your computer needs to be muted. Thank you. Let's move to zoning violation referrals, which is B under administration matters. Director, your report?
Yes, I'd like to turn this over to our historic preservation specialist, Tim Henderson, for the report on zoning violations.
Thank you, Mr. Director. The division staff continues to work actively with the zoning officer and the zoning inspectors in his charge to refer violations within the historic districts to our office. You will note by the applications which were heard tonight that those applicants are beginning to appreciate our process, and applications will continue to come before the commission. Some delays are inevitable given that the zoning inspection staff is very short-staffed right now due to the current state of emergency. As the historic preservation specialist right now, my particular focus has been in the downtown commercial historic district. There are a number of signs have been installed without requisite approvals, and several commissioners have respectively forwarded me violations in the downtown commercial historic district, and I am actively pursuing their enforcement with the zoning officer. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Tim. So with that being said, we're going to move to C, special election notice for the vice chair. Director, do you have a report? I know Ben David will be involved in this discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to remind everyone, we had a vacancy of our elected chair. Well, we have a reorganization at the beginning of the fiscal year in July of each year, and that's when we hold elections, the same as the other boards in the city council, the city of Paterson. And our elected chair resigned recently, leaving a vacancy in the chairmanship. And Commissioner Tate was elected at that time as vice chair and has been acting as chair since that time for the past couple of meetings. So we also lost our attorney who moved on to another position in the nearby city of Newark. And we have Ben David Seligman, Assistant Corporation Counsel, with us, standing in to provide legal services for us. So I've asked Ben to take a look at our bylaws with regard to the vacancy we have now in the chair position, and he's going to provide some guidance for how we're going to move forward with solving that and helping to fill the position. So I'd like to turn it over and ask Mr. Seligman to make some comment. Thank you.
Okay, can the board hear me? Can I hear me? Okay. Always checking, always down technology. Now, the most relevant sections in the HPC's bylaws for this matter are not perfectly relevant, but they talk about the procedures for the election of chairperson and vice chairperson before the annual reorganization meeting. We are doing this at a different time of year, so we'll try to adapt as best as possible to this mid-year election. So I'll start off before doing any more thinking. For now, I'll just read sections 1.3 and 1.4. This should take 2 or 3 minutes of the bylaws, and then we'll try to go through how it applies to the current case, which is not exactly what these sections are describing. Now, to begin, this section 1.3 states, nominations for the chairperson and the vice chairperson shall be submitted confidentially to the commission attorney either on or before the regularly scheduled commission meeting that takes place 1 month prior to the annual reorganization meeting. Now, section 1.4, which is the only other one I'm reading, states, the chairperson and the vice chairperson shall be elected by a secret ballot election. It shall be the role of the commission attorney to maintain strict confidentiality of the process. The election ballots shall be distributed to each member by the commission attorney a minimum of 3 weeks prior to the annual reorganizational meeting. Members shall be required to submit their vote confidentially to the commission attorney a minimum of 5 days prior to the annual reorganization meeting. The commission attorney shall provide the results of the ballot at said meeting. If there is a nomination for secretary and a commissioner is elected, the commissioner shall maintain voting privileges. If the secretary is not to be a commissioner, then the secretary shall not have voting privileges. In this case, the secretary shall be appointed by simple majority resolution, at which time the term and compensation of the secretary shall also be duly memorialized. All right, that's the end of what the bylaws state. Those are really the most relevant we have. I mean, the provisions addressing the exact situation we have, a midterm vacancy, I didn't find. So we'll try to apply these as much as we can make them. Now, the first thing, can the chairman hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Then with greatest respect, I'll say something slightly different from how you stated it before. And this is a difference. Because you're elected vice chairperson and out of great necessity have been acting chairperson, the election now would not be for vice chairperson, the election would be for chairperson. So basically we will do that. I cannot think of a good way to do them both simultaneously, so we may have to take this one step at a time. Between now and the next meeting, we'll try to follow those procedures, section 1.3, where you can email nominations for chairperson. If the vice chairperson is elected chairperson, then the next step would be to do the same thing to fill in the position he's vacating. If the vice chairperson is not elected chairperson, then we would not have to replace him because he'd still be in his place as vice chairperson. Has that been too mind-blowing, or are folks clear about that?
It's pretty clear.
Okay. Now let's try to fill in actual dates, because again, this is adapting a rule that was meant for a slightly different situation. I'm going to grab a calendar.
A little question from Mr. Walter. If the vice chair would resign, then could both elections be done at the same time?
In theory, yes. It might get a little confusing, but can you nominate first person to go there? I think in theory it could be done, but I'm just since we're in the middle of a confusing election nationally, let's try to have as little confusion as possible in our own election.
Okay, just
speaking as an easily confused person myself.
Then I have a calendar in front of me, and just for your information, I want you to know that the HPC meeting for December is scheduled for Monday, December 21st.
That was my first question, the first day of winter. All right. Now, we could be, since we're applying these sections to not exactly the situation you intended to, we're applying as close as we can. I guess it could be slightly flexible about dates. Now we're right before Thanksgiving. Would 1 week from today, December 7th, be enough time for folks to email me nominations for president so we could draw up a ballot? Or chairperson, I should say? Would anybody need more than a week in order to does anybody believe they would need more than 1 week in which to email me nominations for chairperson? Should I take that as nobody needs more than 1 week to email a nomination?
Oh, I don't think we need more than 1 week.
Okay, then on the lovely day of Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, and not that I'll burn the midnight oil, I'm not going to say 5 p.m., 11:59 and 59 seconds if you want to be that way. By that date, nominations for president should be emailed to me. I will say and then spell my email address, so it appears on various emails you received. To say it out, it's seligman@patersonnj.gov, or to slow that down, B as in boy, S as in Sam, ELIGMAN@patersonnj.gov. And to follow up, since the meetings are the 21st, would the 14th be an acceptable date for me to email out the ballots? Any objections?
No objections here.
No objection here. So nominations, you choose to be eccentric as late as 11:59 and 59 seconds on Pearl Harbor Day. And on December 14th, I will email out ballots with the nominees. And again, this would be for president. If the vice chairperson, I'm sorry, I keep saying president instead of chair, silly mistake. This would be for chairperson. If the vice chairperson is elected chair, then we would have to repeat this to elect a vice chairperson. If the vice chairperson acting as chair is not elected that position, then that would be it. That would be the last election needed for a number of months till next year, and the vice chairperson would continue in his position. Is there any other question or clarification from board members, Gianfranco, Tim, or anybody else in the universe?
Just one thing, Ben David. So you'll email out the ballots on the 14th, and then the commissioners will need to reply to you with their vote via email by what date prior to the 21st. That's the last date that we need to put on the calendar.
I would be okay by noon on the 21st.
Okay, so by noon on the 21st, let it be known that the vote needs to be sent to Ben David from the ballot that he provides. And the other point of clarification we discussed was, I think the commissioners already know, but we'll just state it again, that if you'd like to nominate yourself, you can nominate yourself, correct?
Yes.
And you can also vote for yourself, correct?
It can. If you don't vote for yourself, who else will?
Hopefully all your friends.
Quick question, Ben, could you send out an email with that schedule to each of us, and that way we can just reply to your email, make things easier for everybody but you?
Oh, well, I can send, what I'm just worried is that somebody will hit reply all and accidentally, Gianfranco, perhaps you could help me with the logistics? I don't know, if I email somebody with everybody, there's bound to be somebody who's sleepy and hits reply all and accidentally turns a secret ballot election into a non-secret ballot.
Sure. If you would like me to, then I'll email the same scheduled information in a message to each individual commissioner, and I'll copy it to you and ask them to reply to you.
Because there's always some human being who didn't have enough sleep the night before who hits all reply all when they shouldn't.
Okay, we're all warned.
Okay, I can't think of anything else useful for me to do at the moment.
So this is Chair Tate.
Yes.
I just want to say, I just want to thank everyone just for trusting me, in this position, and it's been great, and I would like to continue. Just wanted to put that out there. I think, we have a lot of great applications in this coming year. There's a lot of work that we're all working on to, push the commission and the city ultimately forward. And I just wanted to say that. So thank you very much for trusting me so far.
Well, if we do an advertisement, this is Commissioner Walter. I do not want to be nominated. Please, nobody nominate me. Thank you.
Oh boy, my computer is frozen up, so I can still be heard, but I can't do anything. Maybe I have to close my browser and relog into the meeting. So everyone should see me go blank, but we can continue while I'm doing that. Why don't we, go ahead and do that while I'm restarting my browser.
Confirm. Thank you very much. So with that being said, we would move into committee reports. And item A is historic designations provided under item 6. So I suppose we would have to wait for John Franco, but we would jump into 90-98 Pearl Street, which is the Church of Holy Communion, and the Municipal Historic Landmark designation, which was carried from 8/24/2020. All right.
Okay, would you want to report from the committee?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was just, I'm distracted here, apologize. So yes, the topic has come up for the designation of Pearl Street, correct? So, sure, I think a committee report would be appropriate. I don't need to add any additional comments. I think the committee report should cover it. Go ahead, please.
Okay, the committee met on 11/18, and as far as the former Church of the Holy Communion, we received a letter from the diocese requesting a postponement again and promising that the sale is going to close before the end of the month. So they have requested a postponement. We recommend that a postponement be granted until the January meeting, which is about 60 days. That's the report on that one.
This is Bob. Just to mention that this letter was also circulated in the pre-meeting packet. If people had a chance to see it, it provides some additional information and reasoning that the proposed sale is going to close by the end of the year.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Commissioner Walter. Are there any questions on this designation or this committee report? Raise your hand and the Director will acknowledge you.
Okay, I'm back in business here, and I can see the screen. Hopefully everyone can see the agenda. Can you confirm you can see the agenda now?
Confirmed.
Okay, so I don't see any call for questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With that being said, we're going to move to item B, which is 466-480 Totowa Avenue, the Mish Silk Company Totowa Avenue Works, and this is for the Municipal Historic Landmark designation.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Do we need a motion to postpone?
For Pearl Street.
Yes.
We have a resolution prepared.
I think we can do a motion to postpone it.
Okay, this is Rich. I make the motion we postpone it.
Do we have a second?
I second it, Joyce Corbo.
Secretary, did you get that? It was
Yes.
motion. Thank you.
May I call the roll?
Yes.
Discussion. Is there any discussion?
Director, do you see any hands up regarding this motion?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Can we close it for roll call?
Yes.
Thank you. Tim?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia-Leon.
Yes.
Commissioner Rafael.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We're now moving to letter B under old business and correspondence, which is 466-480 Totowa Avenue, which is the Mish Silk Company Totowa Avenue Works. It's a municipal historic landmark designation. Can we provide that report?
Yes, Chairman. The committee discussed the designation of the Mish Mill, and having heard from our attorney, has advised us to run the new public notice in the newspaper and re-vote on the resolution. So we suggest that we do that to renew the commissioner's commitment to continue the designation process for this bill. The committee recommendation is to reaffirm the designation of the Mish Mill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is it appropriate to open this? Is there a motion on this, or Director?
Yes, we have a resolution prepared. The resolution reaffirms the current commission's commitment to move forward with the designation legislative process that was started several years ago, and it was asked for postponement at that time. So we have a resolution prepared, and I know the secretary can read the statement, and we can go into discussion once it's on the floor.
Confirmed. Tim, could you read the statement of purpose?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The purpose of resolution number 2020 is to recommend that the Mish Silk Company Totowa Avenue Works, located at 466-480 Totowa Avenue, be designated as a landmark to be included on the City of Paterson Register of Historic Places.
Thank you, Secretary. Now I'd like to invite the commissioners to open for discussion on the floor. Please raise your hand.
Motion. We first need a motion.
Yes. Can we get a motion on the floor?
I'll second it.
This can make a motion.
Okay, so Tim, we have Commissioner Walter, and we have Commissioner Simpson on the second.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the clarification, Director. Now we're open for discussion on the floor regarding this matter. Please raise your hand, and the Director will address you accordingly.
Any questions, Commissioners? There's extensive information was provided in your pre-meeting packet. If you had a chance to take a look at it, if any questions on that material, I can answer them. Looks like Commissioner Walter would like to make a statement.
Okay, it's not a question, just a statement. We went through this whole designation process in the past. This is a very important mill, and it definitely should be recognized for its importance. So I think we should designate it again.
Thank you, Commissioner Walter. Your phone kind of broke up a little bit. Did everybody hear him clearly?
I think so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Corbo? Commissioner Corbo?
Yes, thank you. I just want to concur with Commissioner Walter that this is an important piece of architectural history, and it's got a lot of cultural history with it. And I hope this soon gets to be designated and it doesn't take another 8 years like the last nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corbo. Are there any additional statements or questions regarding this item?
I see none.
Okay, Director, can we, or Secretary, can we get a roll call on the approval of this resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Corbo.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Leon,
Yes.
Commissioner Rafael,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Walter,
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Before we move to public portion, I just wanted to go back to item 5 under committee reports. Letter B, the design review committee. All of our reports were under the applications under new business. So we're going to move into the public portion. Secretary, can you provide can we have a motion to open up the public portion? Is there a motion to open up public portion?
Motion to open the public portion.
I'll do it. This is Rich, second.
Okay, so I heard Commissioner Rafael and Commissioner Walter on second, but we have Corbo for first.
Oh, you can hand it to Commissioner Rafael, I don't care.
Okay, so Commissioner Rafael's on the second.
May I please ask the director to read the updated call-in information?
You need to take a roll call.
Oh, Commissioner Corbo,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia Leon,
Yes.
Commissioner Commissioner Rafael,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Director, could you provide the updated call-in information with the time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching the meeting, it's time for public portion for public comments to be made at this meeting. If you'd like to call in with your comments, please call the following number: 973-321-1579, and then dial access code when prompted 711-680-001. Again, the phone number to call is 973-321-1579, and when prompted, enter the access code 711-680-001, and you'll be patched into our IT department, who will alert us that you're waiting to speak at the meeting. This information is also published on the City of Paterson website front page, pattersonnj.gov. The time is now 9:46. We'll wait to hear from callers for 2 minutes. Is that correct?
Confirmed.
Mr. Chairman? 2 minutes, okay, so we'll wait until, well, it's just turned to 9:47, so let's go to 9:49 before we, we'll wait a couple minutes for people to call in.
Thank you.
John Franco?
Yes.
This is Commissioner Simpson. During the public portion, I think we should put on the record the question that someone put in the chat room at 7:54 p.m.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of the question. You mean the chat room that's that's open to the participants, or is there some other chat room?
Yes. Someone at 7:54 p.m. Ravina Jameluddin asked how many feet is considered the right of way to the public. And I believe that question about when we were discussing the fence project.
Yes, this is actually one of the applicants who entered this question. She was part of the meeting previously.
Director, that individual, she was the property owner at 389 East 36th Street, and I had taken note of her question and was going to email her about it tomorrow.
Okay. So, I mean, I would like to clarify the right-of-way versus the public view shed. We often talk about the public view shed as opposed to the right-of-way, and they are definitely different terms. That would, beg a different response. So I can't ask her if she's not on the meeting now if that's what she meant. If she was asking this question in response to our our guidelines, for example. Commissioners know that our guidelines are directed with respect to the public right of way. And I'm sorry, the public view shed. So when we talk about the public right-of-way, it has to do with where the basically the cars are traveling or people are walking in the public space that's adjacent to any residential property. So it's really the space that the public occupies that's adjacent to private property, and that can be, it can be right up to the property line. In some cases, the sidewalk is actually part of private property, and it has an easement for the public to be there, like for a sidewalk, for example. So there may be different cases, but that's how I would respond to that one without further guidance from the applicant as to what the question intended.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Director, for providing that additional information. The time is now 9:50. Can you confirm if IT has any callers?
Yes, we'll do. Stand by. Confirmed by IT that there are no callers, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to close the public portion?
This is Rich, I make a motion.
Okay, Commissioner Walter, motion?
Second.
I heard Commissioner Rafael for second. Did you get that, Tim?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can we do a roll call?
Commissioner Corbo.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia-Leon.
Yes.
Commissioner Rafael.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you very much, Tim. Can we get a motion to close the meeting? So we have Commissioner Rafael? Yep. Director?
Commissioner. Yes, can I just make a comment before we close the meeting?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank everyone for their loyal attendance to our online meetings over the past several months. It hasn't been easy for all of us and even for our applicants to meet with us like this. It's been ongoing for a while. I know a lot of us expected this to maybe abate, but it looks like we're going to be continuing to meet like this for a while still. So because now we're coming on the holidays, I just wanted to say thanks to the commissioners for your continued service and loyalty to this board and our purpose. Thanks for being so ready to attend these meetings and go with the flow on this format. Our meetings are definitely going much better because everyone is kind of following the guidance, and I think everyone's doing a great job, and I want to say thank you for that. And also, I wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday weekend, and I look forward to seeing you back here at the meeting just before Christmas. As you know, our meetings always fall a few days before Christmas, and so we'll be getting together one more time for that purpose. So have a great and safe holiday. Please stay safe. Thank you.
Director, thank you very much for your comments, and I just want to say I appreciate everyone's energy and engagement. And we could, we have a lot on our shoulders, but we're pushing through it. And I just want to sort of, highlight what John Frankel said. It's not easy, but we're making it work. So, again, thank you, and want to say happy holidays as well. With that being said, do we have a motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion. I believe that motion was already made.
Yes, so that Commissioner Rafael made the original motion. Do we have a second?
I believe I seconded it.
Okay.
On the record.
So we have Commissioner Wallstrom second. Do you have that, Tim?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Corbo.
Yes, good night all and happy holiday.
Commissioner Garcia Leon.
Yes, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ahmed.
Absent.
Commissioner Redmond.
Absent.
Commissioner Rafael.
Yes, and happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to everyone as well.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Chair Tate.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting adjourned at 9:55 p.m. on November 23rd, 2020. Thank you very much.
Good night and happy holidays, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Happy holidays, everyone.